Hello friends, Namaskar. Welcome to Vipra Astrology. My name is Mujib Mehta. I am Vedic astrologer. I am based at Ahmedabad in Gujarat, India. This is my first video in English because this video is covering the analysis of the two candidates of USA election, Mr. Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. So I don't want to waste some time for why Donald Trump's how his chart is why he became a first time prime minister and whatever. So we will straight go to the analysis of transit and dasha, how the major transit of Saturn, Rahu and Jupiter is affecting to the Donald Trump's chart, and same way the Kamala Harris chart and dasha, and then we will do some conclusion. So my video may become about 30 minutes max to max, but I request you to stay tuned and just see the analysis. I tried my best to go into the depth analysis on the nakshatra basis, and I also request to all of you, if anybody wants my astrological consultancy, here you can see my mobile number. This is my direct contact number. You can directly approach to me. Now we are going to start. So first we will discuss about Donald Trump's chart. The Donald Trump's birth detail available from the internet and Google is 14th June 1946. Time is 10:45 a.m. 10:45 hours, and place is New York, USA. On that basis, the chart is like this, with Leo ascendant and Mars is into the ascendant, and remaining planets you can see in the 10th house, Sun and Rahu. Now we will analyze this chart only with respect to the transit of that time, election time, say it's on the 5th November 2024. So what is the major transit around that days, and after that we will also go on to the dasha. So now let's start with the transit of Rahu. So Rahu at that time will be in Uttar Bhadra nakshatra into the Pisces sign. So from the moon of the Donald Trump, which is into the Jyeshtha nakshatra, it is not so good, and it creates great mental stress and mental instability and some bad thought process. Rahu also has aspect on the moon, house aspect, and it also has the 5th house aspect on the Venus, which is 10th lord. The 10th house is for the power and higher position, and also the Saturn. So this way Rahu is affecting the moon, the Ketu, Saturn and Venus, and also the Jupiter, which is placed in the 2nd house, which is the lord of the 5th house. So the 10th lord and the 5th lord both are afflicted by the Rahu aspect. So this way the Rahu transit is badly affecting 5 planets. One more thing is that Rahu transiting in the 8th house from the ascendant, which is also not good for the health. And recently he was attacked by somebody. Another thing is that the Mars is into the ascendant, and Mars is the Yoga Karaka planet, most benefic planet for this Leo ascendant. And the Rahu transit is 8th from the Mars also. So from Mars, Rahu is into the 8th house, which is also not good for his health, and also not supporting to get the luck factor or even people's support, because Mars is the lord of the 4th house and the 9th house. Now the 5th lord Jupiter is already afflicted by the Rahu's aspect, and it is into the Chitra nakshatra, into the Virgo sign, from where the Rahu's transit is also nakshatra wise not favorable and may create some hurdles. Now the natural significator of power and higher position is the Sun. So Sun is placed into the Mrigshira nakshatra in Taurus sign in his horoscope. Now from there the Rahu transit is on 23rd nakshatra, which is also very bad, and he has to face great competition to get power and position. So overall we can say that the transit of Rahu is not so much favorable. Now we will go to the analysis of Saturn. Now Saturn at that time will be into the Shatatara or say Shatbhisha nakshatra in a retrograde position and in a Aquarius sign. So from Moon this transit is somehow favoring, but the Saturn has the 10th aspect on the Moon itself and Ketu. So it may create some mental stress and he has to face tough competition in this event or say election. Saturn has the 7th house aspect on the ascendant and on the Mars also, because Mars is placed into the ascendant and Mars is a Yoga Karaka. So it is again indicating some health issue or some lacking of luck and people's support. Again the ascendant is into the Purva Falguni nakshatra. So here Saturn has nakshatra aspect also onto the ascendant. So health problem is very strongly indicating. Saturn transit is 8th from the 10th lord. Here the 10th lord Venus is into the 12th house, from where the transit of Saturn is 8, is into the 8th. But nakshatra wise it is quite good and supportive to get the status. Now the Mars is placed into Magha nakshatra. Mars is into the Magha nakshatra, from where if we calculate the Saturn which is into the Shat Bhisha nakshatra, it is 16th. So nakshatra wise transit of Saturn from the Mars is also not good, and it may give some kind of great loss and loss of luck. Now from the Sun is a significator of power and position. which is placed into the Mrigashira nakshatra in a Taurus sign. From here, this transit is also not so good. So he has to face some hurdles. So we can say that overall Saturn transit is also not that much favorable. From only Moon and Venus, it is somehow favorable. Otherwise, it is not favorable. Now we check the transit of Jupiter. Jupiter will be into the Mrigashira nakshatra in Taurus sign at that time. Now here good thing is that it will be passing exactly over the sun, because his sun is into the Mrigashira nakshatra in the birth chart, and sun is the lord of the ascendant, so it is a good thing, and the significator of power and position. So the Jupiter's support to the sun is a great in this transit. It will also have a positive house aspect on the Moon and Ketu on the 4th house. But nakshatra wise, this transit is not so good, but it will give a good result ultimately. Now the Jupiter has also aspect on the Jupiter. Transit Jupiter is aspecting to the birth chart Jupiter, which is placed into the 2nd house in a Virgo, and Jupiter is the 5th lord. So this way again it is giving favor to get some good status. Now the Mars, which is placed into the Lagna or ascendant, and it is a Yoga Karaka. This transit is favorable, but the Mars is into the Magha nakshatra and Jupiter will be into the Mrigashira nakshatra. So from Mrigashira nakshatra there will be a nakshatra lata on the Magha nakshatra, means kick. So Jupiter will give the kick to the birth chart Mars. So ultimately this Jupiter will not give that much support to the Mars. But from 10th lord Venus, this transit is favorable. So overall the Jupiter transit is favorable, and we can say about 80 to 85% favorable. Very good. Now we will check the dasha, and I mostly prefer Yogini dasha because it has a very short span, and in Bruhat Parashar Hora Shastra it is clearly mentioned that Lord Shiva explains this dasha to goddess Parvati and says that in a Kali Yuga this dasha will have a great effect. So, and I observe also in that present days Kali Yuga, this dasha is really working tremendously and giving fantastic results. So first we will check the Yogini dasha. His Yogini dasha is of Saturn is already going on into the Purva Phalguni nakshatra, which will be up to the 1st March 2020, 1st January 2025. The Antardasha is going of Mercury, and it is from 1st March 2024 to 1st January 2025. Now in his birth chart, the Saturn is placed into the 12th house from the ascendant into the Purnarvasu nakshatra, and also has the 5th nakshatra aspect on the ascendant, which is into the Purva Phalguni nakshatra. So this shows that this dasha will create health problem to him, as Saturn is the lord of the 6th house and also he is the lord of 7th house, so it is a Maraka also. And the Saturn is also placed with the Venus at the 12th house. So some more sex scandals may come out and may damage his image because of it has a very close conjunction with the Venus in the birth chart. Now his Michottari Dasha is of Jupiter is going, in which uh, the Venus Antardasha is already running now from 8th March 24 to 10 November 26. So this Jupiter and Venus, both of them, out of them is not a Yog Karaka in his chart. And the Antardasha Lord Venus is already placed into the 12th house from the ascendant with Saturn, who is a Maraka. So again it indicates about the health problem. So now we already discussed the transit and dasha of Mr. Donald Trump on this chart. Now we will check the chart of Kamala Harris. The Kamala Harris birth chart, birth detail is 20th October 1964, time 21 hours 28 minutes, place Oakland, California, USA. Now this is her birth chart with the Gemini ascendant and planets are placed as you can see. Now we will go fast with the transit analysis. Now the Rahu transit, which will be into the Uttar Bhadra nakshatra in Pisces sign. It is into the 27th nakshatra transit from the his moon nakshatra of Ashwini. So it will give a good result but with mental stress. Rahu will have 5th house aspect on the Mars, which is in Ashlesha nakshatra, and here it will give positive result to win over the competitor or enemy, because Mars is the lord of 6th house and 11th house. And why this it will support to the Mars and give positive result? Because Mars into the Ashlesha nakshatra and Rahu will be into the Uttar Bhadra. So the both nakshatras deity is connected with the snake. Now her ascendant is into the Adra nakshatra in Gemini sign. So Rahu transit from that ascendant is little bit difficult, which will try to damage his image and may create some health problem. The ascendant lord is Mercury, which is placed into the 5th house in a Swati nakshatra. From here, the Rahu transit is much more favorable and support to defeat enemy, as the Rahu will transit from the 6th house from the Mercury. Same way, the significator of power and position, Sun, from the Sun, which is placed into the 5th house in the Chitra nakshatra. From here, the Rahu transit is nakshatra wise not that much good. So it indicates he has to face very tough competition in election, but transit from the 6th house from the sun's positions, it will support to defeat the enemy. Now from the 10th lord Jupiter, which is in Kritika nakshatra in a Taurus sign, which is placed into the 12th house. From here, the Rahu transit is also not supportive and may create some hurdles and mental stress. So overall, here also the Rahu transit is not that much good, just like the Donald Trump's chart we saw. Now we will check the Saturn transit. Saturn will be into the Shatbhisha nakshatra in Aquarius sign in a retrograde position. So from moon, this transit is not favoring, and also Saturn has the third aspect as well as nakshatra aspect on the moon, third house aspect and nakshatra aspect, both way. So it may create great mental stress, financial loss, family disturbance and health issues, and he has to face very tough competition. Saturn has seventh house aspect and a nakshatra aspect both way on the Venus, which is placed into the Purva Phalguni nakshatra. And Venus is the lord of fifth house, the house of status and authority. So Saturn being the natural friend of Venus, it will give support to the Venus to give some authority. The natural significator of power and position, Sun, which is placed into the fifth house. From here, the Saturn transit of Saturn is very much positive. This is a great thing. Saturn transit is supporting to the Sun and will give him higher and position and power. Now from the 10th lord Jupiter, the Saturn transit is not so good. From the ascendant lord Mercury, which is placed into the fifth house in a Swati nakshatra, again this transit is very good. Saturn being a natural significator of people and is supporting to the Sun, natural significator of king, which will give benefit to her. So I can say that Saturn transit is little bit better than the Donald Trump's chart. Now we will check the Jupiter transit. Jupiter transit will be into the Mrigashira nakshatra in a Taurus. It is not that much good from the moon. So it will create tough competition and mental stress. Now from the Sun, which is in Chitra, this transit is favorable, may give higher position and power, because the Jupiter will be in the Mrigashira nakshatra and Sun is in the Chitra. So the Jupiter will have straight nakshatra aspect on the Chitra nakshatra where the Sun is placed. Though, so the lots of blessing of the Jupiter will be on the Sun. The 10th lord Jupiter and the transit Jupiter will both in the same sign, but the nakshatra wise 2 steps ahead. The birth chart Jupiter in the Kritika and this transit Jupiter will be into the Mrigashira. So the third nakshatra, so it is not that much good, but ultimately it will not harm and will not create some problem. From the ascendant, which is in Adra nakshatra, the Jupiter is very much favorable to get higher position. And from the ascendant lord Mercury, which is into the Swati nakshatra, this transit of Jupiter is very good and very much favorable. Jupiter has also nakshatra aspect in the Ketu in the birth chart, which is placed in the 7th house in a Mula nakshatra. So it shows great support from the people and other politicians and leading personalities of USA. So Jupiter transit is favorable to the both way, to the Donald Trump also and to the Kamala Harris also. But what I checked is the Jupiter transit to the Kamala Harris is 5% or say little better than the Donald Trump's chart, because it has an aspect on the Sun and in Donald Trump chart, Jupiter was transiting exactly over the sun. So Jupiter's aspect is much better than his transit over the sun. Now in his chart, the Yogini Dasha is going Rahu, which is called Sankata. So already Sankata is there. But in his birth chart, the Rahu is placed into the Lagna ascendant into the Mrikshira nakshatra. So this dasha is up to the 29th April 2029. But the Antardasha is Mars. Now the present Antardasha is Mars from 9th June 2024 to 29 April 2025. Now the Mars is debilitated but has exchanged a sign with Moon. So in this way it is a strong enough, and also the Lord of 6th and the 11th house from ascendant, which again shows that he has to face enemy, competition and also health issue, but and also may undergo some surgery on the body. But for election point of view, it is favorable because Mars is the Lord of the moon sign and the Lord of the 11th house gain. Now in Vishotri Dasha also Rahu is going, in which the Venus is Antardasha, and in that the Pratyantra Dasha is also Mars. So both way the Rahu Dasha is already running, but already I explained that if we check the Rahu in Vishotri Dasha, Rahu and Antardasha is Venus. So Venus is the Lord of the 5th house, and he is also has exchanged the sign with the Sun and become the stronger in the 5th house. So this way it is also a strong position. So looking to this, both the chart and transit and say dasha analysis, I am concluding that both the chart has a very strong position, and transit is also almost neck to neck going. But even though the Kamala Harris has a little more favor in the Saturn transit and in the Jupiter transit, and also little bit more favorable in the dasha. So looking to that, I conclude that this election Kamala Harris is going to win and Mr. Donald Trump will lose this election, and this will be the history in the USA that the first time the lady will become the president of USA. I hope you have enjoyed this analysis. Please subscribe my channel, like the video and share this video to all your friends and family members. Lots of thanks. Namaskar.